Oh boy. Chihiro is one of the few characters that I was really interested in hearing her Momotalk. So this is the one I, of course, had to pick. I'm still working on Wakamo's swimsuit. Don't worry, it'll come eventually. But for now, Chihiro is going to be the sub-in, and well, for a lot of reasons. One, she's kind of the IT girl, and being a guy that works in IT, you know, I'm gonna have a slight bias, just a very slight bias. For those that are not necessarily sure what I do, I'm a software engineer, but I also specialize in a handful of other things because I've been kind of having to do them since things have been a little rough lately. But I also work in DevOps as the automation engineer, so sometimes if I need to update an application that I'm working on or any kind of particular software that I've updated or even created, I am also taking care of getting the pipeline set up so it is automated and automatically deployed to the servers it needs to be. It's actually really fun. Well, maybe not to necessarily other people. I know coding isn't always the most exciting thing for everybody. But I also handle a lot of server maintenance, not necessarily the hardware side. I handle more of the software things, making sure that certain instances of our application servers are up and running, making sure the configurations are set up properly, checking to make sure everything is running as smooth, and you know, if things are going wrong, I'm looking at logs. I do have to learn quite a bit of Linux on that one. So, I'm really curious how this one's gonna be. So let's see how this is, and I am gonna be curious if I'm gonna catch some of the conversations, because I may not necessarily work in the networking and penetration testing stuff as I believe. Well, you can call it hacking. A lot of people like to call it penetrations. So like if a person's testing if they can hack into something, they're gonna do what's called a penetration test. So. A lot of really interesting lingo there, but I'm not sure if they're gonna say penetration test. They might just simply call it hacking, and to be fair, it's not wrong to use it. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Sensei, I'm sorry. I know you're busy. There was a security breach at Shale, so I'd like to take a look at the servers. That's disturbing. I need the password for the PC. Can you come to the Shell office? I was gonna say, if you were gonna immediately ask him to send it through the Momotalk, I would have been upset. Then again, I'm pretty sure she would have been upset. Okay, be right there. The password. No. Thank you. Never write passwords on an unprotected line. Yes. Thank you. I put a sticky note with the password on at the bottom of the monitor. We haven't even gotten to the dialogue and I'm already hating myself for this. Oh gosh. Chihiro, you have every right to yell at me right now. Huh? Are you kidding? Daily security audit. Hi, Chihiro. You have every right to be upset at me. Well, in-game me. Normal me would not have done this. I would have never done this. So, I actually have a very unique schema for my passwords. So, even if I were to say the schema, you wouldn't understand if you were to write that schema and you'd get it wrong. So, I have a very clever way about my passwords. That's about as much as I will say, though, because I shouldn't say more than that. Anyway, I returned to the office from a business trip and found Chihiro waiting in front of a computer. I'm back, Chihiro. All done, I take it. Finished the security. I mean, these are the same thing, pretty much. All done, I take it. The security check in itself didn't pose much of a challenge. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's you. All I had to do was thoroughly examine the logs and clear the cache. Oh, okay. Well, that's not that hard. That's actually very easy to do. Fortunately, I didn't find any traces of the shell server being hacked or any malware left behind. Well, that's good. So, what were they trying to find, then, is the bigger question. Wait, they said there was... Wait, what was the person... Wait, hold up. If you said there was a penetration, or I guess a compromise... There's no traces. Either this person is really, really good at hiding their handiwork, or it didn't happen. However, there's still a problem with this PC. What kind of problem? Oh, okay, here we go. Brace yourselves. Your security practices, Sensei. I agree, Chihiro. Why would you write down your password in a visible location? Because it's really complicated and hard to remember. What do you mean? My password... I have had passwords that are over the suggested character limit. I've had to redo my passwords before because they were too long. It's not that complicated. You just do it a few times and the muscle memory kicks in. Come on. If you're gonna do that, then put it in a place that's secure that you won't ever have to worry about going in the wrong hands. That said, you shouldn't leave it out in the open. That doesn't excuse you putting the password where anyone can see. Exactly. You would have... This is literally going to be... I feel like the entirety of this Momotalk is going to be the smooth brain sensei version of me going about his usual daily life while you have IT security... Well, IT person me yelling at him in his mind, and Chihiro yelling at him. This is gonna be a very interesting experience. You would have an emergency on your hands if this fell into someone with malicious intent. Every record pertaining to Shell and its students could leak. Granted, it's not the first time something is leaked. Poor Yuka. Shale having extrajudicial authority makes it even more of a target. That calls for being even more careful. Or more, fair enough. The kind of information that comes to this office isn't to be taken lightly. Sorry. I'll let it slide this time since there was no harm done. Please be more careful in the future. I want you to write down a new password here, Sensei. Something that's easy to remember. No! I'm not writing either of those! Chihiro, yell at him again, please. What do you think you're doing? Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a combination. Someone's luggage. Props for anyone who got that reference. Something like that can't be your password. But you said easy to remember. Not that easy! That doesn't give you an excuse to write something so obvious that anyone could guess what it is. Exactly! You have to use a combination of letters and numbers, special characters, that you may know by heart, but others won't be able to guess. You could even go for an additional level or step or two and make it an even more complicated puzzle that has to be solved. Very clever. The reason why sometimes having a special like system in place for your passwords might be a good idea is because you may not. It may be surprising how easy it is for somebody to social engineer your password off. Like if you name it after something, or you know, like let's say you use an old school ID or a maybe your dog's name or your pet's name and a specific year, or let's say date of birth if you wanted to go that way. That kind of stuff could be social engineered off of you, which is why it's generally not a good idea to even use those kind of things. Then again, I have really ridiculous password combinations, so the chances of me getting this is not likely. Then I'll use my birthday. That's no good either. Any hacker targeting you would obviously know what your birthday is. These kind of security tips are supposed to be common knowledge. Okay, I'm gonna defend myself here in this case and saying, for us IT people, Chihiro, yes. It is common knowledge. I hope. Not necessarily for the common person. I feel like this is gonna end up turning into IT security like 101 or something by the time the two of us are done. And it's a good idea to include at least one special character or uppercase letter for important accounts. Or why not both? Otherwise, the account can be cracked with a simple macro or a brute force system. People do that. Really? Yes. Yes, really. Your PC password is like the key to your front door. Having an insecure password is like leaving your spare key in your mailbox because otherwise you'll forget where you put it, or putting it under your mat or under the pot next to the door, or in some other really silly spot. That one too, huh? Sensei, do you keep your spare key in your mailbox? I should have known this extended to your offline security as well. That's actually really sad. It's time to go over the importance of security, starting from the basics. Listen up. Oh, okay. Chihiro lectured me about security for over an hour. Sensei, can you do me a favor? How can I help? I'm going to present a proposal to the company delivering equipment to Millennium this afternoon, but the president is very stubborn, so I want to be prepared before I bring it up. I want to do this Veritas's way. What do you mean by Veritas's way? Yes. That didn't I want to install a back door on the node before I work. I'd like you to help. Oh. Is this gonna be like an Iron Man, like that one scene in Iron Man where it's like, let me just show you how bad your security is, just manages to like hack and take over the computer to monitor in the same room as them all? I'd like you to help. Node back door. How can I help? I don't know how hacking works. I don't know if I should be explaining this stuff or not. Because I feel like she's just gonna start doing it. It's okay. I know it sounds difficult, but you just have to be there. I'll see you then. Ultimate hacking techniques. There you are, Sensei. I've been waiting. I know you're busy. Thanks for coming today. We can get to work now that you're here. Do you think I could do it? I'm kind of nervous. I mean, I would be nervous about everything. It's like, I can be, like, I don't know. Maybe that's normal. Like, whenever I have a major release that comes out for something that I'm working on, like, there's a major app that I've been working on recently that we're going to be pushing live soon. And I'm slightly nervous about something not working because this is, like, this is important stuff that needs to reach a, I don't know how I can word this without giving away too much info. Basically, we're gonna send it to a place that stores the data in a format and in an exact way that the government wants it to be formatted. So, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about that. As I said before, all you have to do is stand there. I'll be dealing with an IT company that's located in this high-rise building. Their security has weakened due to a recent server expansion, but the president is stubborn and doesn't want to entrust their data to a student like myself. Do you think that their security is that bad? I mean, I know if it's a recent server expansion, then it's probably either a new server or something, and they probably don't have I wonder if she thinks their security is just bad in general. Though in reality, if an IT team is good, then every single time they add on a new, they expand their servers, like she's saying here, they would keep their security protocols similar. Yeah, hopefully. I have to be worried about that, but that's how it is. Like I generally will, if I ever find like on the Linux servers that I generally handle, I'm just like, if there's a security measure that I know, or a security standard that I know isn't being met, I usually notify immediately. I'm just like, this needs to be changed. That's just the way that I am, though. How many vents will we No, this is not... No. This is not what we're doing. What's the infiltration plan? What are you talking about? We'll be going through the front entrance. We're not living out in some kind of spy novel. This is serious business. Good old white hat hacking. Hello, I'm Kagami Chihiro of the Millennium Science School. We spoke this morning. I'm here for a consultation regarding your company's server security. Please, difficult owner is his name. Thank you. Remember what I said, Sensei. You don't have to do or say anything. Just play along and follow my lead. Let's go inside. I'm curious what she's about to do. So you believe our company's data is in danger? Yes, the new server you installed seems to be using an old antivirus program that's already been cracked by hackers. Okay, so either they're bad at what they just did, they're either bad at their job, or this was like a recent vulnerability that was discovered. One of the two. You're vulnerable to spoofing, and all company and partner data could fall into the hands of bad actors, including confidential information regarding new projects. Can't have that. You're right, I should have the server, I'm pretty sure, security enhanced. But why should I entrust Veritas with my server management? You may project an outward appearance of professionalism, but Veritas is still just an amateur club run by students. We may be students, but we're hardly amateurs. Veritas has offered complete security solutions for several IT companies in Kivotos. That includes from Sensei here, the advisor of Shale. Chihiro's security solutions are the best. Shale, you mean the investigative club that has extrajudicial authority as granted by the General Student Council President. To my understanding, Shale exchanges data with several academies, even if Shale trusts Veritas, and I suppose my company can as well. Oh, if even. Shale trusts, I'm sorry. Still, I'd prefer if anyone but a student was the one in charge. I don't know how to feel about entrusting my data to children. You know what? That is a fair argument. I can't necessarily disagree with that. I'll take responsibility if anything happens. Interesting. Alright then. How about we sign a 1-year contract? Just 1 year? I wouldn't have agreed to this if I was only negotiating with students. But I'll trust the word of this sensei person. Thank you, Mr. President. We'll treat your company's data with the utmost care. Whew, I'm glad that's over. We shouldn't have to worry about our finances for a while now. What was that all about? I told you, I was going to install a backdoor before getting to work. In programming terms, a backdoor is a shortcut created for convenience. It's basic hacking technique that allows you to bypass even the most impenetrable firewalls with ease. To a degree, you could argue that these are ports. So whenever you're creating a server and you're doing a port forward, or you're specifying a port for a multiplayer server, for those of you that are that have done that, I'm not necessarily sure if anyone has, but for those that's technically a one way you could do it. But that's not the only backdoor. There's multiple other ways you can get in through it. But that's why if you're sometimes if you connect to a school network, sometimes a gaming service won't work because a port's blocked. That's them blocking a common backdoor that's used for a lot of hacking stuff. So that's usually one of the things that it does. Or that schools do. I'm saying your presence was the backdoor I needed to bypass the president's firewall. I see what you mean there. His prejudice against working with students. I was able to complete my hack thanks to you, so to speak. That doesn't count as hacking, does it? To a degree. Not necessarily. It's very... I'd honestly argue this is more social engineering than anything else. Of course it does. It's a completely legitimate technique. Hacking is all about disabling the opponent's security in any way you can to procure the desired information. Building trust through conversation is one of the best hacking techniques you can have. Now if only I can get that through to the other members of Veritas as well. Regardless, thanks for your help today. I'll treat you to coffee next time. But I don't like coffee. Sensei, did you call? I was asleep, sorry. Sorry if I woke you up. Server maintenance for the consulting company is scheduled at midnight. I thought I should get some sleep before I pull an all-nighter. Overtime maintenance. Sounds like hard work. Oh, yes it is. That is extremely relatable. I work with so many other countries across the world. Sometimes it could be just neighbors like in the UK. It can even be Denmark. Sometimes I even work in Southeast Asia area, and even reach as far as Australia sometimes. So, yeah, sometimes time zones can make it to be a rather big hindrance. Is it okay if I come with you? You want to see how I do server maintenance? That's fine, but it'll be boring. Are you sure? I'm sure. I'm sure you don't mind the company. Alright, I'll send you the location. Be there by midnight. I don't know how long the job will take. Make sure you get rest beforehand since we'll be up all night. Maintenance. The cable and LAN connectors are good. The hardware capacity is sufficient. Well, that's good. No problem with the security settings. I just need to back up the database after updating to the latest kernel. Sensei me. I don't know what this means. IT me. Oh, okay. That's good. Sometimes. Hopefully nothing breaks, because sometimes updating things causes a whole bunch of problems, which is really silly, but I've had that happen twice, and I don't understand why it happened on those two servers. Like, this is why, like, for those that have ever been curious, you can install the same software on 10 systems, but for some reason, 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of them just decide that they don't like it. They could have the exact same hardware, exact same software versions, exact same OS version, everything could be identical. For some reason, these 3 just don't like it. I've had that happen twice, and I hate it. What's wrong? Did you picture me frantically pounding the keyboard in front of a flashing red monitor like you see hackers do in TV and movies? No. No, I didn't. But... well, like, I could suppose. Well, I suppose sometimes it can look like that during emergency response cases. Yup. This is just routine maintenance. This is what it's like under normal circumstances. Very true. But why work in the middle of the night? Well, sometimes you have to. You can't necessarily... So, like... The maintenance is that I have to do for anything in the United States, I have to wait sometimes until 5, end of the day, so like 5 o'clock, sometimes even later at like 8 or 10 o'clock at night. If it's other countries like, actually no, usually if it's West Coast, usually we have to wait till way later in the day, in the night. That's just because the normal hours that they're working, they're using the software and the systems and need to do their job, whereas if we were to update at that time, we were going to stop them from doing that. That's why we have to wait for so long. So that's why you'll sometimes see maintenance and stuff happen at times where people are usually asleep or, done with work for the day. That's normal. That's a very normal thing. Because the server has to go offline during maintenance. She's literally going to say the exact same thing that I just talked about. I feel like I should just shut up. Because the server has to go offline during maintenance. Every service is different, but you can generally minimize inconvenience to the client by performing maintenance during late night hours. Yep. You also have to pay attention to time zones in that case. It sucks, but this is how it is. The business district is relatively quiet at night, so processing data is also faster. Though working at night does have its drawbacks, and there are always some people that require service at any time of the day. It's impossible to please everyone, however, so this is just the best course of action. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you work in manufacturing or anything like that, your systems can't go offline because sometimes you'll have first shift, second shift, and third shift. So those systems are always going to be running 24/7. So it's unavoidable. That kind of stuff is very much unavoidable. You have a lot on your plate. I don't mind. This is my job after all. Touché. Server maintenance isn't all that different from other public services like law enforcement or firefighting. The less you have to do, the better. Every server manager's job is the same, no matter how competent they are. Operate the server without issue. Yes. It's not a glamorous job, but someone has to do it. Yeah. Me over here just nodding my head like, yes, 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 this is true. Yawn. Must be getting tired. The backup should be done now. We can go out and get some coffee once it's done. Oh, done soon, sorry. Is there any place open at this hour? Don't worry, there's a spot I like to go when I'm working graveyard shifts. That's third shift. Usually that, for people that don't necessarily know graveyard shift, that's what, 10 p.m. to 6:30? Sometimes it could be 10:30 to 6. No, it's 10:30 to 7, sorry. It's gonna vary company to company, but the graveyard shifts I usually know are usually around that time zone. 10:30 at night to, no actually, the last one I worked at was 10 o'clock at night to 6:30 in the morning. There are obviously pros and cons to that. I told you last time I'd treat you some coffee, so I insist. We'll be done soon. Just hold out a little while longer. Oh, I thought we were going straight into CG. Never mind. Guys, please. The server main... Sever main. Why... That completely changes that. Glad it's not a W instead of a V. I'm going to assume the server maintenance was done soon after that. I then followed Chihiro outside. Is there really a cafe open around here? Some could be. Should be just around this corner. There, follow me, Sensei. Let me guess, it's not a cafe, it's a vending machine. With a bunch of popular stuff in it. Oh, looks like I'm right. Coffee.
やっぱり一仕事終えた後のコーヒーは格別だね。ん？カフェとかだと思った？ごめんね。こんな時間だからもうどこもやってないし、ここぐらいしか飲めるところがなくってさ。
I'm not surprised.
私、いつも徹夜明けはここでコーヒーを飲むことにしてて。この自販機はこんな時間でも誰にも見られてなくても淡々ときちんと自分の役目を果たしてる。なんだかそういうところが自分の役目に重なってるような気がして。先生もこのコーヒーの味が分かってくれたら嬉しいな。
Not necessarily a coffee person, but hey. Ugh, I don't know why I had to clear my throat there all of a sudden. I'm not usually a coffee person, but yeah, I can definitely understand that. I've had a few of my coworkers pop a cold one. Once we finish up our work and we're having a little end of maintenance chat. But yeah, it's relatable. Look at the time. I got so wrapped up in our conversation that I didn't realize it's almost dawn. The late night trains aren't even running anymore. It'll be difficult to make it back to the Millennium dorms. Is there somewhere I can crash at Shale? Oh, I'm sure. We have the Shale dormitory for a reason. I walked Chihiro back to the Shale residence hall and gave her an open room to get some rest. I'm concerned that the younger Veritas members will just keep hacking just for fun. It hasn't gotten out of hand yet, but they do get into trouble sometimes. I'm afraid of what it could do to our club's reputation. I thought that's what hackers were supposed to do. Or is that just a stereotype? No, it's the hatter. So there's multiple different type of hackers. I think this is the white hat, gray hat, and black hat. So it sounds like, and from what my general experience is, the rest of them are gray hatters. Chihiro is more of a white hat. So for those that don't necessarily know what that means, I guess I could make it easy. White hat is one that knows how to do all this stuff, but does it all for good. Usually to, these are usually people who will do penetration tests against a company, and then if they find a vulnerability, they generally report it to a company and say, hey, this is an issue. That's generally what they are. And then obviously gray hat sometimes is... Gray hat's kind of the middle ground, where it's like sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't. Usually in some cases they might be doing it for money or other things. Whereas a white hat's probably... Usually, I would imagine most white hats are probably employed by a certain company to do it for them. And then, of course, obviously, black hats, I don't think I have to explain. It's basically a spectrum. But yeah, that's definitely a stereotype. But it's not a stereotype without a reason, though. These days, people only think of black hat hack... Welcome back to another episode of I Start Talking and Explaining Things that Chihiro was just going to explain. Oh my goodness. Hacker used to mean something like security expert it does. Oh, I mean, it has multiple definitions. It's got this, this is what it used to be. It also can mean someone who is simply looking at code and just being like, I'm gonna make it do this thing. I don't fully understand it, but I'm gonna make it work, and it makes it work. Sometimes you'll hear people use this for other things outside of the IT aspect, like life hacks, for example. But yeah, oh my goodness. AKA a white hat hacker. I should have taught the members about hacker ethics when I had time. I haven't visited the club room recently, because I've been so busy. I mean, you literally just did a graveyard shift. Yeesh. Black and white. I accompanied Chihiro to a startup company in the business district to help her with her security consulting work. Good evening, I'm Kagami Chihiro of the Veritas. I understand you're in need of server maintenance. You're late! Do you know what time it is? I beg your pardon, the maintenance was scheduled for 10 p.m. I couldn't care less what the schedule says. I'm a busy man, why do I have to deal with you at this hour? Ah, he doesn't get it. Also suspicious owner. You should have arrived earlier out of my convenience. My apologies, I'll try to remember that next time to avoid any inconvenience. This is why I don't want to do business with a group of hackers. I can't speak of for your abilities, but I can see your business etiquette is lacking. Everything you need to know is in these documents on my desk. Just make sure you don't screw this up, or our server room is equipped with a state-of-the-art monitoring system that sends logs in real time. We'll be alerted if anything out of the ordinary is detected, so don't even think of tampering with our server. I'm pretty sure she'd be able to get around that. I wouldn't dream on it. I'll be getting to work now. Are you okay? I'm fine. Some clients are like this. They really are. They really are. You can hear the pain in my voice. Oh boy. Veritas' name elicits a certain kind of reaction out of some people. There isn't much we can do to stop people from jumping to conclusions based on our reputation. Anyway, let's forget about that and get to work. The night is short. There are no issues with their settings. All I need to do is copy the backup data. What's this data? It's something I'm sitting here wondering, is they either they have bad malicious data, or are they going to get locked out because security? One of the biggest problems about security is when they're too strict. And there's a comment saying security is a feature, not a padlock. Basically, you want to have security around for all the benefits it provides, but you don't want security to be too tight, because then nobody's going to be able to do anything. And then that becomes a whole problem. To give a good example of this, one of the more recent hires I had to work with and getting him up to speed, he has not been able to do anything on his PC because the security on it is way too high level, and they didn't give him any clearance for it. So yeah, that's not been fun having to deal with that. So, because basically when he needs to develop something and he needs like a specific IDE or something that he can use for development, he has to get the IT service desk's help just to install it, when he could have probably been able to do it if he had the clearance. That's kind of an example of that. Anyway, is something wrong? Not necessarily. It's just that I came across a lot of unexpected data in the database. Could be old data, test data, anything. This looks like the personal information of customers who installed the company's app. How did they collect this? That's not all. There are suspicious transaction records that weren't recorded in the ledger. Uh-oh. I'm going to look into this a little closer. Now I get it. Their app installs a backdoor to collect info. They've been selling the collected info to an insurance company. It's a common trick. Is that legal? No, probably not. Yeah, it's illegal, but reporting something like this can be complicated. Well, I mean, technically you were working and doing the job for them and came across it. That's not necessarily... I wouldn't say what you're doing is illegal. There's a common saying for if you obtain something that is incriminating, but you do it through illicit or illegal means, it's called fruit from the poisonous tree, and generally in court it's thrown out. That's I believe in generally in courts it's thrown out. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that, I had to double check that. But the saying that I've constantly heard for that kind of stuff is fruit from the poisonous tree. Anyway, I'm also breaking the law by uncovering the data without the client's permission. It can't be submitted as evidence to be used by the police. That's the main reason why it's called this, pretty much. However, I wouldn't say you're uncovering the data with your client's permission. You're doing the job of that the client has. I mean, granted, I guess it depends on the full responsibilities of what you're supposed to do. If you're backing up data, then technically you're looking at all data. So I would say no, you're not technically doing this without their permission. And Veritas would lose a lot of trust in clients if it was discovered we intentionally leaked secure client data. Even if we had a justified reason for doing so. It seems unfair. Well, no, it's... yeah, I mean, yeah, it is, honestly. It's a sticky situation to find ourselves in. What do you do, though? The next morning. Breaking news! A well-known app developer has allegedly been collecting the personal information of users without their consent. This was revealed when an anonymous hacker released the app's source code online, subsequently causing the stock price of the company to crash. The company is facing possible bankruptcy. Well, looks like she decided to go with it. Or it's an anonymous hacker. Oh. Clever. So, she's a gray hat. You could argue this gray hat label is debatable, though. President A of the company has denied the allegation, but that has not stopped public opinion from turning against the developer. Chihiro? No, what makes you think that? It was difficult enough to sweep the server because of the state-of-the-art monitoring system their president was bragging about. Perhaps a skilled hacker in Kivoto's was the one responsible. Someone other than me. Oh, I see. Okay, fine. I was gonna say, drop it, come on. Technically, there's probably a few others that could, but still. I couldn't have done what they were doing, but didn't want to damage Veritas' credibility either. I just couldn't let it go, so I took matters into my own hands later. Yep. I do my best to teach the others about hacking ethics, so if they knew I let my personal feelings get in the way and cause me to hack one of my clients, I'd be too ashamed to face them. Are you disappointed in me, Sensei? You won't do it again, right? You're supposed to be the Vice President of Veritas. Adults can be so harsh. You're right. Veritas is a part of who I am. What I did represents our club, whether I try to divorce my actions from it or not. I'll have to work hard to make it up to my underclassmen. Still, I would appreciate it if we could keep this our little secret. It's always hard to get that to... I kind of wish it would just, like, do this sometimes. And then when you click on it, it actually shows the UI like it does. Like, it doesn't start with that, with showing this first. I don't know. Oh, boy. It's actually kind of funny. Wasn't really anything too obnoxious. Or, like, you know, I was hoping that they weren't going to, like, make up something on the spot just to kind of sound techy, but no, everything made sense. Definitely, they definitely do know their stuff, which is good. I would hope they do. Then again, they could probably have... It's probably not that hard for them to find somebody that knows this if they're developing anything. So... It wasn't like anything overly like cutesy or anything. I can definitely give it that. So don't worry. There's no need for insulin here. It was a nice. Well, what's the best way to put it? It does expand on her background a bit without how she's a very work-centric character, which I don't. I can relate to that for sure. Gosh, this entire thing was just like, yep. I agree. So, thankfully it was not a scenario where both Chihiro and I are both yelling at me. I know that sentence probably sounded really weird, but when you consider the fact that I'm also sensei in this game, then yeah, I guess that makes more sense. But no, I'm glad it branched out of that, and she started focusing around what she was doing and the kind of work she does on a day-to-day basis. It's kind of nice, actually. Granted, for me, it makes a lot of sense, because I can look at this and be like, this is what I do. This is literally what I do. Minus the hacking into somebody and doing stuff. I don't do that. I wouldn't even know how to start that. I think me drawing from enough experience and also just going into depth about some of the things, though sometimes it ended up with me explaining something that she was just about to say, which is hilarious. I never thought I'd have that happen, but I guess I've never really had a character that's centered around the stuff that I do. So I have no complaints there at all that the two of us were basically saying the same things when it came to explaining, which is hilarious. But no, did thoroughly enjoy this, but it's also because it was so dang relatable. I've done many a maintenance before in my life. Some being pretty much right after work, around 5 o'clock, some being midnight, even a few at 3 o'clock in the morning. It just kind of is whenever it's available and whenever time works out. it kind of sucks, but at the same time, it is what it is, and that's really what matters. It is important work. It is something that is, you know, it may be annoying, it may be gruesome, but at the same time, it's, you know, you're helping out people that need this stuff to be running all the time and dependent, and, you know, reliable, not dependent. That's really, really what matters there, is that every, you know, you're kind of the backliner. In my case, I do work in the health sector, so the stuff that I do technically supports a lot of hospitals and stuff. So it is, you know, I'm not the frontliner, I'm the backliner. It's always something to think about, but no, it is. This was a very relatable Momotalk, and I actually thoroughly did enjoy this. Even though I was kind of basically subbing in for Chihiro on some of these topics. Oh, man. So, that was something. Anyway, I will be working on getting other Momotalks up and ready for you guys in the near future. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this one as much as I did. And I will see you guys in the next one. I'm not sure who I'll have done yet. It's probably going to be ones I'll pick as I kind of, you know, as I go. I'm pretty sure I should have walkable swimsuit ready, so I'll have to see if I have that one all done. I'm going to assume 10 is going to be safe for her. I don't know if there's a place I can check for that. And I should probably also mention, if Chihiro has any more, then we'll cross that bridge when I get to it, and that'll just be on a stream at some point. But she is currently affection 13, so I'm pretty sure we've got everything, unless there's something else that I'm not aware of. But for what it is right now, we're good, I'm pretty sure, and yeah, I will figure out who I'm going to do next, if not walkable swimsuit. So, hope you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you guys all in the next live stream or video that I do. Until then, I'll catch you guys all again real soon. Laters!